to cover here, but everybody's mind is gonna go first to holy shit, Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
He needs to be the first wide receiver drafted for the next 30 years. He is the next Jerry Rice.
I
And
mean, okay, yeah, that's what do you think? Is that where you're going with it?
so I like I just feel like we could go in so many like different directions here. But in the group chat, you said you're gonna be lower than consensus on him. So I was
I
kind of
believe so. Mhm.
laying it up like to you, like I guess like
Mhm.
asking what's the hypothesis on that? Is it like an overcorrection of the market, like because we've been predicting this for so long that it's had like an ability to like get a hype train like before it even happened, like so to speak, or like what's the
I
thesis behind
just
that?
I think that Garrett Wilson was already getting hyped after the Rookie of the Year win,
Yeah.
and he was already in the top he's already in the top 10 for redraft wide receivers. I mean, he's going right behind Amon-Ra St. Brown and AJ Brown.
Mm.
Um, I guess I mean the guys that are behind him, Waddle, Higgins, Smith, Olave, they make sense. Um, Metcalf. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's like to me, what's going to happen is he's going to jump into that um, end of the first round, middle of the second round draft capital for redraft, most likely.
Oh
And
wow.
like I can't
Wow.
I can't anchor my team around him when it's like it reminds me too much of last year with the Broncos, but you weren't paying as much as you would be for Wilson as you did last year for Sutton or Judy. When like people were like, "Oh, how could they possibly fail? It's Russell Wilson. He's been so good for so long. We know he's a good player." And it failed miserably because of X, Y, and Z. I mean, I think that there's just it's not something that I'm going to be buying into at that capital when it's an unknown. I'd rather grab the piece that's near him that I can rely on, that I know what I'm getting, instead of buying into the unknown of this hype.
Here's maybe the closest comparison to
Mhm.
the Garrett Wilson season that we're gonna see. If you're making a bust case, it's Juju the year AB left, and he was supposed to
Mm,
be a target monster stick. 200 targets was in the range of
mhm.
projections for Juju Smith-Schuster, and then he put up a very pedestrian wide receiver, maybe 18 season, and we're like,
Right,
what the fuck, man?
right.
Um, but if we're picking holes, once upon a time, Juju was the dynasty wide receiver one. Garrett Wilson isn't quite there because we have the untouchable tier of the two LSU receivers. Um, I kind of forgot where I was going with this point, but um, you, you know what I mean, man. I don't know.
I just I think Garrett Wilson is gonna be hyped too high. Already at number 10 overall, I can't do that redraft. I can't draft him as a wide receiver 1 in redraft. I
Hmm.
can't. Not now, not even not even in August. I mean, it's I can't buy into something
Hasn't happened.
that yeah, it hasn't happened yet. Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially at that capital. If we're talking about a fourth round receiver, then maybe I could talk about it, but s- high second round, first round, forget about it. No shot. Not even coming close to Garrett Wilson at that
Man,
rate.
you're gonna be choosing between like, like you could be staring down Devontae Adams or Garrett Wilson, like maybe at some point, which is just
No,
so crazy to think about.
he's literally Adams is at 7 and Wilson's at 10. I mean, that could easily happen
Oh man.
if it's Jimmy G if it's Jimmy G starting in Vegas. I mean, I could easily see AJ Brown creeping above Adams. I could see Amon Ra creeping above Adams if that quarterback situation stays the same
I
with
don't want
with offseason hype.
Jimmy
Another,
G.
oh, and Adams is another year older. Oh no, like easily could fall a couple spots.
Mm.
So, um, yeah, man, I think Garrett Wilson as an unknown, I can't buy into him as a wide receiver 1, and that's where he's going to end up going is top 12. If you're willing to buy into that, I mean, power to you and Godspeed ahead, soldier, because you're definitely taking a chance there.
Hey, I mean, there is definitely a very compelling bust case for Garrett Wilson at that ADP, but a guy, I mean, it really is an unprecedented situation where he is like so unquestioned, like the big stud on this team that
100%.
and I mean, there's really nothing not to like about this guy. I mean, he did it in college. He got crazy draft capital, top 10 draft capital, I believe. Um, Great athlete. Um, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, and now he's getting a quarterback that usually hones in on one guy, and he's so clearly. I mean, with like, there's no Elijah Moore, and we're gonna find out what happens during the draft. But we could be looking at Alan Lazard versus him, and it's like, man, like
Mm-hmm.
Alan Lazard just isn't good. You know what I mean? And Garrett Wilson is gonna be a stud for years. So
For
there
sure.
is a whole lot of upside, but I mean, if you're looking at proven studs versus Garrett Wilson, like proven 1,500 year guys, 1,400 year guys versus this second year guy, I mean, he could easily flop.
I
Like,
don't. He could easily. I don't even think that he has like a high potential to bust. I think that drafting him at at the number 10 wide receiver is drafting him at his absolute ceiling.
ceiling, yep.
And you're just, it's always going to be a recipe for disaster to draft players at their ceiling. You know, you're drafting them with the hype built in, and that's just not, it's just not a sound strategy to take.
Hmm. See, I need to do more research and like look into this like pairing here, but I don't think it's too crazy to say that he has like a wide receiver 3 or 2, maybe even wide receiver 1 like outcome overall. Because I mean, if he's gonna get one of these Aaron Rodgers target shares where it's like 31, 32%, which is I mean like that might not happen. It might just be like 27, 28. But like what he was giving Devontae Adams, if he's gonna give that to Garrett Wilson, um, I mean I don't see why he couldn't go for 1,300, 1,400 yards. But to me, where I see a chance where it could go wrong is like he just he's like wide receiver 15 or 16 on the year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I like I don't know. Like I do think you are paying for a wide range of outcomes, but that range of outcomes also extends to like the very far end of like he is the like Aaron Rodgers, like I'm throwing to him every time in the red zone, like this, that, and the third, feeding him targets. If that happens, it's like he's gonna have a whole lot of upside. But if he's just like another number 1 receiver with a 26% target share, it's like that's that's not gonna go well because he's gonna be a fringe wide receiver 1. Um,
I'll say it right now. Garrett Wilson is ranked 10th at wide receiver, and DK Metcalf is ranked 15th. DK Metcalf will outscore Garrett Wilson in PPR formats in 2023. I'll book it right now.
yo, we should
You
we
want?
should do
I'll place a bet on it.
yeah
Whatever you want.
we should bet we should bet a second round rookie pick next year.
Gonna get some draft capital out of me.
No, 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 no. I mean, hey, if you think um that DK Metcalf do that, I will take you up on a bet like that. It could be a third or fourth round pick, just funny there if you wanted. But
Hmm. I think we could think of something better, something outside of fantasy, like
okay,
like a record or something.
all right. We'll
We'll think about it, but
yeah.
it's going to be DK versus Garrett Wilson right now. I'm saying it.
Oh, okay.
DK is he's gonna get back into the top 12 this year.
We can't forget that here. Like I
Mark
don't
it,
have a pen.
book it, somebody. Avi, put it in your notepad.
Man, here.
And shout
Yeah.
out to our boy Harris for the question. You know, he wanted to know where we would be drafting Garrett Wilson. And I'm going to tell you right now, at wide receiver 15, 14, I'm comfortable with him there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'll
A
still
fringe wide
take.
receiver one.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fringe one. I'm still gonna take Waddle over him because he's done it and he's shown he can do it, and he's with a great, in a system for it. Higgins, I'll take over him because he's in there and he's done it. He's got the quarterback for it, the system for it. DK Metcalf, I'm going to take over him because I believe in DK. And I think of that, that's a team that's going to have to throw the ball to win. Garrett Wilson, I think I think Garrett Wilson could easily miss out on touchdowns because of like